Hiya, teacher friends. Are you interested in teaching English on iTalki? Well, if so, you came to the right place because today I'm going to talk to you about platforms on iTalki. So these are the different communication platforms that I've used on iTalki. So first of all, there is a platform associated with iTalki called the iTalki Classroom. This was invented for the use of all students, but I think mainly for students from Asia, particularly China. As not a lot of my Chinese students have had Skype, iTalki is usually the go-to place. However, I find that the iTalki Classroom does not work very well for me. So the vast majority of my classes are on Skype. Yeah. So when you're on iTalki, you could actually create a few options of the platforms to use. I've had classes on Zoom, Skype, iTalki Classroom, of course, and even Google Hangout or Google Meet. So these are all different options that you could use. As I said, the iTalki Classroom didn't quite work. Hasn't quite worked so well for me. I've heard a lot of similar testimonies from other students, so I don't know exactly what's going on with that. But I would say that the iTalki Classroom doesn't quite offer anything that Skype or Zoom wouldn't offer. Especially if you're not a complete techie, like me, I'm not a complete techie either. I think that it wouldn't make too much of a difference to you, but I've heard a lot of teachers tell me how the differences between Skype and the differences with Zoom are very important to them. For me, the important thing is to be able to share my screen, to send links, to ideally send pictures or files if I need to, and first and foremost, to have connection, accessibility with the students. Yeah. So aside from that, platforms could also be used to help you recruit students and to help you attract students. For example, I've used iTalki, Facebook, and other platforms like that to attract students. I know that my students have actually posted my profile kindly enough on WhatsApp, and this has helped me attract students as well. So I think that it's good for you to realize that applications and platforms could be used for attracting students and also for getting in touch with students, because at the end of the day, that's the most important thing. Currently, I have Zoom, Skype, and Google Hangouts as options on my iTalki profile. I prioritize Skype because that's where I have most of my contacts. And it's just the first platform I began using. But Zoom is always my backup. And sometimes I find that Zoom actually works better than Skype, and I find it's more user-friendly. So especially if you're new to things, if you're just getting into the mix, keep that in mind. Aside from that, I know that there are certain teachers, and I've spoken about this before, who have only nonverbal meetings, so they have classes that are by text or something like that. That's not really my style, and I can't even imagine what that entails. But I could only imagine that you would probably use Google Docs or something that's very organized with a very attractive layout and a well-set curriculum, so that it's actually worth the bang for the buck for the students. But again, I've never used that before. Anyway, Google Docs could be really useful. Anyways, just in order to send homework, to give your students feedback on their homework, and of course to do the homework. So I would say that those are the main applications you need. If you're starting on iTalki today, download Skype or Zoom and make sure that you have access to Google Docs or some sort of doc where you could share it with the student as well. All right, fantastic. If you have any questions for me about platforms, please throw them in the comments below. I hope that helped you out, and keep smiling.